Our second speaker today enjoys visiting the Monterey Bay Aquarium because there's always something new to see. Giving his fourth speech entitled So Many Topics, So Little Time, please welcome John Armstrong.
Toastmaster. Well, Bill took my topic, so I'm going to have to go with my number 2 choice. It's a great speech. I learned a lot. Thank you. Since I had such a hard time trying to come up with a speech topic, I thought I would do a speech on how to pick a speech topic. Now, I know what you are thinking. If you could not even come up with a speech topic, how in the world do you think you could do a speech on picking a speech topic? Is this one of these do as I say, not as I do situations? Plus, you were only on your 4th speech. How much advice for picking a speech topic could you possibly have? Maybe I was not listening to my own advice on picking a topic. Or maybe I thought there was some good information to pass on. Or maybe I just couldn't come up with a topic, so I chose this one instead. You will never know which it is, because I'm not sure which it is either. Although I suspect it is a combination of all the above. Well, here I am on my 4th speech, and it's hard to believe I've used up all my speech topics already. I mean, 3 is not that many. I'll admit that. I thought speeches 1 through 3 had pretty straightforward topics, and I did not have much trouble thinking of one. But number 4, how to say it? How to say what? Hey, if I was really creative, would I have joined the military for a career? I don't mind being told what to do. In fact, I kind of like it. Just ask my wife. I like being presented with a very limited number of choices. Throw a bunch of options at me, and well, you can just kiss me goodbye. For example, it took me over 20 minutes the other day to pick out a calculator at Staples. Some had solar power, which I thought, that might be important. Others had stat functions. That was the class I really needed it for, so why was I bothering to look at ones that didn't have that? And some had these nifty finance operations, but they cost $50. Did I want to spend that much? Shouldn't have been that complicated, but yet it was. As if worrying about this speech wasn't enough, I got a head start on worrying about whether I'd be able to come up with a speech topic for number 5 or 6. Will I ever make it that far? Maybe I will, if I apply some of the lessons I'll highlight in this speech. If you Google how to pick a speech topic, you will get at least 707,000 hits. Talk about choices. After around site 5,275, without much progress, I decided on a different approach. No, I didn't really make it that far, but I did come across a site called www.speechtopicshelp.com. I thought, all right, now we're getting somewhere. This site seemed like it was custom made for someone like me. That is, someone that's in the military, not very original, and cannot come up with a speech topic on their own. But after looking through their myriad of suggestions and topics, I still was no closer to my elusive goal. I felt defeated. I mean, if a website called www.speechtopicshelp.com couldn't help me, maybe nothing could. Many topics seemed good, and I could picture a good speech being built around a number of them. But nothing jumped out at me and really grabbed my attention and said, speak about me. Which brings me to my first speech topic suggestion. I know for a speech on helping to pick out a speech topic, I haven't really stuck to the theme thus far. If you're feeling shortchanged, I don't blame you. Anyway, what I discovered is that topics are all around us, like raindrops. We just need to be sensitive to them and take note when we see them. If you have a bad memory like me, you may want to carry around a writing implement when you see those ideas strike. There have been more than a few times that I have seen something and thought to myself, hey, that would make a really good speech topic. Of course, if I had the foresight to write it down, I probably wouldn't have been doing this speech right now. Bottom line is, you don't need a website to pick a speech topic. I think there's also a Toastmaster booklet on help in picking a speech topic. I haven't read it, but I'm fairly confident you don't need that either. I could easily have taken any number of topics I found online and built a 5 to 7 minute speech around it. But you know what? It probably wouldn't have been very genuine. You need to be true to yourself and what you're deciding on when you pick your topic. Sure, sometimes you do not have a choice in the speech you're going to make outside of this group of Toastmasters, but you can always deliver the speech in your own style. This may seem like common sense, I know, but I think in my case it was something that needed repeating. I guess the rule would boil down to be yourself. Whichever topic you pick, don't try to mold it into a style that you're not comfortable with. The audience will see through it and you will not be as poised up there or here as you could have been. Along these lines, if you want to pick a topic that is interesting to you, you have some degree of passion for, that's probably a good idea. Not only will it be easier to put together, but you will have a smoother time delivering it. As my stats professor likes to say, no news here. You all probably knew this already too. I can see myself in the future though, trying to put that square speech through that round hole and trying to force it, when I know I should have picked something a little more in tune with who I was and what I believed in. Also, it might not be a bad idea to pick a topic you do not know much about. While you're getting better at public speaking, why not learn something in the future at the same time? There's certainly nothing wrong with picking a topic you're already familiar with, especially early on if you have a pretty intense fear of public speaking, like me. But don't be afraid to venture out there and try a new topic. You just might find an ironic gem of a speech topic waiting for you. Finally, you want to pick a speech topic that you can deliver in the allotted time given. If it is a 5 to 7 minute speech, don't pick a topic that takes a minimum of 30 minutes to do it justice. For example, don't pick the national economy for that 5 to 7 minute speech. Try something a little more specific, like the effects of the falling dollar on the trade deficit. Even that might be a little bit more than you can chew in that 5 to 7 minutes, but it is in the right direction. Trying to overload the audience with as much information as possible and giving them their money's worth may not be the best approach. You may be better served with a topic you can focus on 3 or 4 main points and cover them thoroughly. And since I'm about that 3rd or 4th point, I'll listen to my own advice. Madam Toastmaster.